Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Good afternoon. It's late afternoon here. Gosh, since the comments were reinstated, we've actually been inundated with comments. It's wonderful to see. But boy, does it bring a certain amount of work. I've been up since early this morning. And I must have spent at least 4 or 5 hours answering comments. Now, so this is not a huge elaborate thing, but sometimes it's just a matter of hitting the heart, showing that I've seen and liked the comment, or even just seen and said, okay, that's how you feel, and all of that, contrary to the idea that I don't like anybody to dare disagree with me. That's okay, as long as you don't say that something nasty on the end of it as well. Well, we've been through all of that, but looking through the comments, it does show me something that I've observed for quite a large portion of my life, and that is that there are at least a couple of different types of people, and they are those who are intrinsically motivated and extrinsically motivated. Now that's just a fancy way of saying that some people like to be patted on the back and told that they can do something, and others need to be given a reward. So you get this with children, is that somehow it often seems like the rich kids are actually the worse off, because the rich kids are told, if you graduate with this mark, we'll buy you that. I don't know. If you get an F, we'll buy you a bike. If you get a B, we'll buy you a motorcycle, and if you get A+, you'll get a BMW. So they get a reward for doing what they should be doing for themselves, which is intrinsically rewarded. So what they've actually found in researching in companies about the effects of bonuses, and if you go in McDonald's or actually any of the fast food places that originate in the States especially, and you'll see Employee of the Month. Now, you may think that comes with a huge reward, monetary reward, and very often it doesn't, because it kind of shows that actually people would like to be praised for what they do, rather than handed a tip. Now, that's not to say that I'm against tipping, because even in the Philippines, I prefer to show my appreciation with a small gift at the end of, say, a meal. And if I take a tricycle and the guy has, when I hailed the tricycle, he was travelling in the opposite direction, and he does a U-turn, and he comes and he takes me a little way back up the road. I pay him a little bit more. I think the going rate is something like 8 pesos or 10 pesos. Well, what is it? He took me alone up to where I needed to go, which was probably only half a mile, but a walk in the heat. I'm glad of a tricycle. So I pay a little bit more. I'm not a hero. I'm just thinking that here's a guy doing a job and doing it well for me. So it's worth giving something. So I'm not against tipping. But what I'm trying to say is that when I look at the comments, what's obvious is to take it to expand the context of what I'm actually trying to get over to you about rewards and and showing appreciation and all of that, is that when the biggest thing that we can do in our lives is to create an effect, to make a difference. That's the greatest thing that we can do. Now, if you've got children, confirm this for me. If you've got a kid that kind of gets a little bit mixed up and he can't do anything good, almost what you have to do is acknowledge him no matter what he does. Okay, I got that. Okay, I got it. And we love you. If you start to beat the kid down, then he'll find it very difficult to get up. Now, here in the Philippines, they actually ran a terrific ad, a terrific commercial. It was an educational commercial, if you like, just educating people. And what it starts off with a family, with a young man, and they are at the table. So they're at this table, and here is the father, and here is the mother, and at the other end of the table is the son. And apparently he hasn't been doing too good, and they're in the middle of dinner, and the father starts on. Now, I'm just going on body language and just the tone of the conversations, whether someone is angry and all of that. But they illustrate it in a very good way. It's the family dinner, and the father starts on at the boy. And as his anger grows, the table, which started out like this, gets wider, gets longer. In other words, the father and the son get further away, and the father continues, and it gets longer. And as it goes on, and the father doesn't realize what is happening, it gets away and away and away and away until the boy is out of sight. In other words, they've lost him, because there should be a point at which the lessons stop. There should be a point at which it's free ground. It's, if you like, no man's land, where nothing hostile happens. And if families don't have this once a day, at least at dinner, in the evening meal, so many people that I've read the stories of say, my father and mother insisted that we sat down, all of us together, for dinner, for the one meal a day, because everybody had been at work, at school, away for breakfast, away for lunch, and dinner was the point at which they all connected. Now the French especially, have this way of living, and I think the Italians have it the same, and that is, dinner is not something where the food is bolted down and then everybody leaves. Dinner is a meeting. It's a meeting place of family, of friends, and they meet and they talk, and instead of everything being served on a huge plate and you eat it and finish and get out, they don't do that. They have courses, and they have a small amount of food that comes off of a particular kind of food, and they eat that, and they have a glass of wine, and they commune, and there's no hassling the kids. So kid, why the hell are you getting F's? No, there's none of that. This is a place where the joy of being together is celebrated. So what I see sometimes in the comments, trying to bring all of this together and make it have a point, is that people are searching to make a difference. Even someone who criticizes is trying to make a difference. Well, I know about that, and here's my input. So often people end by saying, just my 2 cents, or just my thoughts, or my spin on the subject, you know. That's, or the other one is just saying. And it illustrates the point that we are all trying to make a difference in some way that is real to us. So the thing that my mother used to say, and I think a million other mothers in various languages around the world, was, if you can't say something nice, then don't say anything at all. I read a wonderful book when I got here that was lying around the house at Beth's mom's place, and it was about a pig farmer who that's what he did. He bred and slaughtered pigs. That's what he did. He was a farmer, and his son, a farmer's son, and when he thought at one particular point that the boy was speaking out in the presence of adults a little bit too much, he said to the boy, never miss a chance to keep your mouth shut. So sometimes people have said that about the idea that why would you, if people think that you're a fool, why would you open your mouth and prove that they're right? So you speak out in moderation, and the other thing, of course, bringing in the golden rule, is that you say what you say with an empathy for the other person. So how are you going to say it? You could say, you better do that or you're going to be out on your arse. Or you could say, you might want to do it this way. And I think that Mary Poppins, can we possibly bring in Mary Poppins? Mary Poppins said, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So depending on what you want to say, you can work out a way to say it. And you can still say, you can still create your effect. You can still make a change. Somebody out there may just be ready for the way that you give that little piece of information. And sorry to bring this one up again, because I've said it many times, but we've got so many new subscribers, you probably won't have heard this old man's tale. But I remember being part of a family where the boy, who was, I think, maybe 9 or 10, he stopped eating. And of course, within a very, very short time, it begins to show. And his family were going frantic. Please, you have to eat. You've got to eat. You will become sick, Didn't make any difference. He sat there in front of that food and he defied it to get into his mouth. And then one day he suddenly started eating. Years later, when he was a grown-up, I spoke to him and I said, do you remember when you stopped eating? And he gave a wry smile. I said, yes, I do actually. He said, and I asked him, I'm curious, what was it that made you start eating again? He said, well, our abrasive next door neighbour, who we all disliked because he came in and made statements which which upset everybody, and then he would leave and leave us all arguing about it. He said he came in when I was sitting in front of my plate refusing to eat, and he said to me, yes kid, you can stop eating, you can die. And then he left. I suddenly thought to myself, I don't want to die. So you can see that message came through just at the right time and created an effect. So even though the guy didn't put it very well, it did the job that none of the rest of the family could do. Well, I've meandered on a little bit, haven't I? But you can see the point. All of the comments, when you read comment after comment after comment after comment, and you begin to see patterns, and you begin to see names crop up, and you begin to see the way that they try to make a difference. And you can see the varying degrees of success. Some are so abrasive that of course you never want to see another comment from them again, and then others you wish, if you put that in a slightly different way, I would have been happy to listen to it. Thanks for listening now. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.